Hi, my name's Rowan and I'll be talking about the News Corporation background. News Corporation was created by Rupert Murdoch in 1979 and was an American mass multimedia corporation which had its headquarters in New York City. News Corporation was then renamed to simply News Corp as part of a company split back in 2013, which was due to concerns that was raised by shareholders surrounding the aftermath of the phone hacking scandal, which saw journalists of the now non-operational News of the World accused of listening into people's voicemails. The company was split into two publicly traded companies, one which was for media and the other was for publishing. The company's holdings now includes business involved in the film, entertainment, television, satellite, and cable network programming, newspapers, magazines, book publishings, music, digital technology, and even online programming.
Hi, my name is Aidan and I'll be discussing accounting failures and how they apply to News Corp. Your typical accounting failure generally arises when executives of a company manipulate the financial records or misappropriate the financial position of a company to make them seem more favourable to shareholders and other stakeholders. However, unlike the norm, in the case of News Corp, there was more of a passive pressure, if you will, in the competitive environment that they were operating in. So rather than the corporates manipulating their financials, they are in fact striving to improve actual performance in meeting increased expectations by doing whatever it takes to gain a competitive advantage in the cutthroat industry. Unfortunately, News Corp could only gain this advantage by compromising their ethical and legal obligations, by getting the inside scoop firsthand via phone hacking. This is an example of a financial/accounting pressure that led to the demise of News Corporation in comparison to the typical manipulation that regularly occurs in conglomerates.
I'm Mark and I'll now move on to the audit failure by News Corp. To understand what the audit failure by News Corp was, we must first define how an audit failure occurs. An audit failure occurs when an audit, the official examination of a company's financial records, does not find the things that it should or fails to inform the relevant parties of what is in the audit. Ernst & Young, the auditor employed by News Corp, have been said to have failed in their audit duty to pass on critical information regarding News Corp's liabilities to its shareholders. As the shareholders stand the most to lose in a company as they basically own it, it is the duty of the auditor to ensure that the findings of the audit are presented to them so that the shareholders can take appropriate action if they need to. Also, in 2009 and 2010 respectively, News Corp paid Ernst & Young $30 million and $35 million. Now, this could also have affected Ernst & Young's independency because with such a large client at hand, they would not have wanted to lose it and they would have ensured that they would have kept it with the large money at hand.
Hi, I'm Lachlan and I will be talking about the consequences of the audit failure. Due to the audit failure, there was worldwide outrage as the phone hacking scandal broke. This then resulted in numerous legal proceedings and millions of pounds to be paid out to victims that had had their voicemails hacked by News Corp. The scandal also broke out right in the middle of News Corp's attempted takeover of B-Sky-B UK. But with the public outcry on News Corp, they were forced to withdraw their bid. This bid was valued at £8 billion and it also resulted in a lot of profits to be lost from the takeover. The implications also stretched into Australia as the Greens and Labor Party called for a government inquiry into News Corp Australia's own actions.
Hi, I'm Ed Boston. I'll be talking about the corporate governance failure relating to News Corp. The failure of News Corp's corporate governance was a major factor in the 2011 phone hacking scandal, which subsequently resulted in News Corp's unsuccessful attempt in taking over Sky UK Limited, formerly known as B-Sky-B. News Corp's governance structure failed to monitor and control the activities of its staff, most notably by not supervising its executives and journalists of subsidiary company News of the World. Those particular employees were charged with committing various crimes, including phone hacking and bribery, which resulted in various prosecutions and, in Andrew Coulson's case, a prison sentence. As a result of the scandal, News of the World ended its publication in 2011. Rupert Murdoch received heavy criticism from British Parliament for his lack of control over the now defunct publication, and News Corp was effectively forced to withdraw its bid for ownership of B-Sky-B. Auditors are considered to be a significant part of News Corp's monitoring system and are therefore an essential component of the corporate governance structure. That being said, News Corp's auditors should have had processes in place to detect detrimental behaviour that would have prevented the corporate governance failure.
Although typical audit failures generally are about a material misstatement of financial information, in the case of News Corp, there was a material misstatement regarding the corporate governance and internal controls, attributable to the large scale and convoluted structure.
To have prevented the audit failure of News Corp, Ernst & Young should have reconsidered their client acceptance decisions, as they failed to remain independent and manipulated the audit report to not disclose all liabilities to all relevant parties.
Overall, due to the internal controls failure and the audit failure, that resulted in both financial and a public relations backlash to the company of News Corp.